is, and every other leader is doing something for their party at this hour. Now, the ruling party with Thabo Mbeki in Soweto has also unveiled its 2024 election manifesto, and that was on the 24th of February. It promised to create 2.5 million work opportunities. President Matamela Ramaphosa has also hailed just this week the expanded public works program as a success, claiming that government efforts over the last 20 years since the EPWP started had provided more than 14 million work opportunities. Is this a fact? Well, let's unpack this now. I'm joined by people who always check facts, and that's researcher from Africa Check, Keegan Leech. Keegan, welcome to today, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks very much for having us.
It might be too early for you. I'm not trying to answer the question for you, but the president just yesterday saying we've created more 14 million work opportunities through the EPWP, the expanded public works program, over the last 20 years, since 2004, when it originally started. Is that accurate, that number, 14 million work opportunities of the EPWP?
Well, we haven't checked that, so I can't give you a straight answer. It is certainly possible. That would translate to around 700,000 work opportunities per year on average. And that's certainly, you know, in some years, in recent years, it's created close to 1 million work opportunities per year. When it just started out, it took 5 years to get to 1 million work opportunities.
So over the last 15 years, it could have created 1 million work opportunities a year?
It could have created 14 million in total, which is what the president claimed.
Yes.
But you'd need to check with the department.
So what do you know about,
Works.
I mean, the EPWP? I mean, how many work opportunities have you been able to fact check over the years? Because it's not the first time that the governing party is making claims around how many work opportunities are being created.
Yeah, well, it's promised in its manifesto for 2024 to create 2.5 million work opportunities. That's presumably annually, because currently the EPWP itself creates about 1 million, sometimes just over, just under, per year. And there's another important public works program that was started as a response to the COVID pandemic called the Presidential Employment Stimulus.
Oh, the EPS?
Yes.
Yeah. We love acronyms, by the way, in South Africa. Sorry about that,
yes.
Keegan, yeah?
And the PES has created in total about 1.6 million new opportunities in the...
That's separate to the EPWP?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So now, that's on the EPWP. Are you going to be fact-checking the at least 14 million work opportunities over 20 years?
We might. We do often fact-check the ruling party.
Okay.
And
quite correctly, because I mean they're in government. They make promises. They claim that they brag about their achievements. So we have to make sure that because it's an election year, anything can be said by political leaders nowadays. So let's talk about real jobs. Firstly, I mean, what do you understand is a work opportunity?
A work opportunity is essentially a way of distinguishing the jobs. They might not be what you think of when you hear the word job, but the employment opportunities that are created by public employment programs.
So it could be a project-based kind of engagement for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, for Absolutely. The length of a project. Could be more than a year, depending.
And it often doesn't last very long, and it doesn't necessarily come with the same minimum pay or minimum benefits as other kinds of public employment.
So it's not a job in the classical sense of what we've known comes with a job?
Not necessarily.
Okay. But it's an important opportunity, obviously, because somebody gets engaged for some time, especially the young people. So from your research, Keegan, how many real permanent jobs have been created? I'm asking this because in 2019, the ANC promised to create 275,000 jobs each year.
Each year.
From 2019. Now, every year, you take that number, you multiply by 5. Well, you are the numbers man, I'm not. I don't know how many jobs by now would have been created if you've done that. What have you found?
Well, we'd expect about 1.4 million in total. And if we look at employment, employment has gone up since the end of 2019 till the latest data, the end of 2023, by about 300,000 people. So they obviously haven't met that promise of 1.4 million extra jobs. But there is a big complication there, which is the COVID pandemic.
I was about to come there. So that really hit the country like everybody else in the world. I mean, we lost 2 million jobs, I think.
Yes,
that was a number that was issued by Stats SA, and half of them were women.
And very quickly, too. Employment dropped by over 2 million, essentially in the second quarter of 2020.
Okay, in the last minute I have with you, Keegan, in the studio, and I'll talk to you again in the near future. There are all other kind of numbers we'll want to unpack with Africa Check in this ahead of the elections. In 2024, the manifesto, you had my introduction. They want to sustain, that's their wording, 2.5 million work opportunities, not jobs. Okay, that's what they are promising. You re-elect us back in government, we are going to sustain 2.5 million work opportunities, okay? That makes maybe over the next 5 years. That's what I understood. Or is it every year?
If it were an expansion, which is what they've promised, that would be every year. And it's possible. You know, as you've heard, the EPWP creates about 1 million every year. The presidential employment stimulus has created about 1.6 million new work opportunities in 3 years. So they're already quite a bit of the way there. And it would require just expanding those existing programs, which is possible, but experts told us the constraint would be whether they can get the budget to do that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Keegan, for your time. He's a researcher with Africa Check. I can't wait, Keegan, to hear whether or not the 20-year figure of EPWP work opportunities created of 14 million is actually factual, is actually accurate. The president used that yesterday in one of his campaigns, because it's campaigning season now. We'll find out from Africa Check. Hopefully they'll do the number crunching for us and let us know. Still ahead in this hour of today.